everyone. All right, so today I am actually using my new streaming setup. I've got a dedicated PC right here that is doing the streaming. So hopefully we don't have any freezing and my computer will operate much faster, more smoothly when I'm streaming. So today I thought I would answer this question. So I have this repo, TreeShake CSS, where I explain this problem that I'm having. And I've got it in here locally. So the problem that I'm having is I'm building a component library for PayPal called PP React. And you bump that up a little bit. The way that it works is we have this PayPal, it's called PPVX. It's a component, or it's a CSS framework that has all of the, like, here's what a PayPal button looks like, all that stuff, but it's all modularized really nicely. And so in building PP React, I was like, hey, let's use Emotion. This will be great. But that didn't work really well because I'd have to re-implement all the stuff that they're building. They really didn't want me to do that. I kind of wanted to, but I was like, yeah, I mean, Emotion's great. And they said, no, we don't want to duplicate effort. So I decided, okay, let's see if we can figure this out. And so I decided what I'm going to build is, or what I will distribute to NPM will have CSS or imports for CSS files, and whoever's consuming it just has to have their Webpack configuration set up so that we can actually import those properly. Unfortunately, and fortunately, everybody at PayPal, all new apps anyway, are using PayPal scripts, which comes in with a built-in Webpack configuration that has it all set up. So people don't have to even think about this. They don't have to know. And the benefit here is that like the real benefit to all this is because our CSS framework is modularized, it's componentized, whatever, there's a button.css file and there's a table.css file, there's a grid.css file. So presumably, the component that needs that will just import the CSS at the top of the file, and then all of the CSS will be loaded for that particular component, and people who are using it don't have to know that's how it's working. It can be using CSS and JS for all they care. That doesn't matter. That just works. And then with the Webpack configuration, we use the, what's it called? The mini CSS extract plugin, so that we can take that CSS that we're importing, extract it into a single CSS file, and then they ship that single CSS file. And it works great. It's probably, if I'm really honest, it's probably the fastest way to do this because there's no runtime. And it kind of supports, like, the idea conceptually, it supports tree shaking, because if I'm using the text component but I'm not using the button component, I shouldn't get any of the button styles. I'll just get the text styles. So that is the idea. Unfortunately, I've come across with a problem. So the problem is that it doesn't actually work that way. So if we look at this example, so I've got this lib. This represents my library, and this is how my library is to be consumed. So there's another piece to this puzzle is each one of the components has its own module. It's at pp react text, or buttons, or colors. They're all on their own module. And then there's one module that brings them all together called PP React. And that's the one that most people are going to be using. They're going to be importing things from. And all that module does is export star from all the other ones. And so the way that people typically will use this is they'll import just what they need from the library, and then they can use what they need however they need it. So in this app, we only need the A module. And so it should come in here and it'll say, okay, we're exporting star from A, so let's go find A. And here it's importing the CSS, and then we export the component that we need, whatever. The CSS is pretty simple in this example. So my hope was that, hey, let's just, because this is, because this app 1 is only importing A, then it should only import the CSS for A. It should not import the CSS for B, right? The CSS for B is B color blue. Okay, so that's the goal here, is when I only import A, it should tree shake out B, which it does. The code for B, or at least, well, if this were a function, then that would, well, actually, yeah, the export itself doesn't get used or whatever. So that code is not in the final bundle. However, if we look at our out1, it is totally useless, but because we're using the CSS extraction plugin, it will extract the CSS for us. If we look at one main, we're going to get both. So that is unfortunate. So the question on my AMA is, why is this a problem? So in here I say, I know why this is happening. I'm not asking for an explanation. I have to preface things like this all the time because everybody assumes that I don't know things, which sometimes I don't. But yeah, like they're always explaining to me things that I know. Anyway, so they just were wondering, okay, so why is this happening? So let me explain. Let's just follow JavaScript for a moment, and we'll pretend in a world where we are using modules. Okay, so we import A from lib. So this is what JavaScript is going to do. It's going to say, okay, let's go to lib, and that's index.js here. And now we're going to export star from A. Okay, so let's go to A. Boom. Now we're going to import a.css. So let's go to a.css, and we're running that. Okay. So that's going to happen. This is before we're actually using anything. This all would happen even if all I did was this. Okay, so it doesn't matter what I'm importing. It's going to run all of these lines of code. It'll run this line of code. It'll run this line of code, and it'll run this code. Right now, CSS real ECMAScript modules don't understand this. Webpack does, but Webpack is doing the same kind of thing. So that's what's going on, but it's not finished, right? So once it runs that line of code, it's going to run this line of code, and then it's like, okay, this module's done, so it'll go back, and now it runs this line of code, and then it goes in here and it runs this, which will get this, and then it'll run this, and then Webpack, when it's all done, it'll do its analysis and say, oh, you're only getting A from lib. So let me go back, and I'm going to mark this as unused, which basically all that Webpack is doing is it marks it as unused, and then the uglifier, the thing that we use to change our code to minify it, is going to see this, and it's going to say, oh, that's it. Basically what Webpack does, all that Webpack does is it says, okay, we'll just remove the export because it's not being used, so it doesn't need to be exported. And then the minifier comes in here and it's like, oh, we can get rid of that. So it just deletes it. That's what the minifier does. So it's a two-step process. Tree shaking is two-step. We're going to remove the export, and then the second step is from uglify or whatever you're using to minify your code. It's going to remove dead code, remove unused code. So that's what's happening. But this import is a side effect, and that is why this is happening. This import will not get removed, even though in here we're only importing A. All that Webpack is going to do, it's going to say, oh, okay, so we don't need the exports from B, we don't need this export here, and that gets removed, but nothing else is going to be changed. And thank our lucky stars for that, because because of the nature of CSS, it's a side effect. It could totally change the behavior of our program, right? So I'm actually glad that that it works this way. Even though it's kind of annoying for my particular situation. Now, if we look at app2, we can see this happen again. We're importing B from lib, and we go up to our main output, and we get A still. Now, we can solve this problem. I know of a way to solve this problem, and that is instead of importing lib/a, or sorry, instead of importing A from lib/a, we just, that's what we do. I kept saying the same thing. So what we do is we import the module directly, not the module that has all the side effect imports. And when we do that, then we only get the stuff that we need. And that works great. But in my case, I don't want to have, like, if I have, 6 components from my component library in that one file. I don't want to have 6 imports. I want to do import A, B, C, D, E, F, and G, right? I don't want to have a line for every single import where I'm like, okay, A, B, C, D, E, and then I go up and like, okay, we're going to do A, and B, and C, D, E, F. Oh, I forgot one. G. Like, how annoying would that be, right? And then to like keep that updated, no, not fun, not fun. But you know what? There is something that does have a lot of fun doing something like that, and that's called a Babel plugin. Lodash actually has the same problem. If you say import underscore from Lodash, or at least it did have this problem. I think Lodash has actually fixed this, and I'll show you how. But it would bring in all Lodash, even if all you were using was get, right? Foo, I don't know, whatever. So if all you were using is get, you need a fraction of Lodash, but you bring in all of Lodash. So a solution to this is lodash.get, and you can say get, and then you can say get. So it's the same solution to the same problem, but that comes with its own problem. So Lodash built Babel plugin Lodash, and what that does is it takes your code that looks like this and it rewrites it to do this. It works really well, and it's totally like it's so easy to solve this problem in your Babel configuration that PayPal Scripts actually includes this plugin by default because it's just so easy. Now, it occurs to me that Lodash has probably solved this problem using a different solution that I want to show you. But this is the solution I'm thinking about right now for my problem, is to take, let's go back. Okay, is to take code and that looks like this and rewrite it to look like this. That should actually be a pretty simple plugin, and so I'm not too nervous about this, but I would like to solve this another way. So first I gotta give credit where credit's due. I didn't think about this until this individual, Sebastian, mentioned this idea to me, which is the side effects. It's actually camel case side effects, but you put side effects false in your package.json, and then it Webpack does some additional optimizations. It says, oh, well, if this module has no side effects, then we're probably fine. So actually, there's something I didn't try. Well, let me show you what I tried first, and then there's something I didn't try that might actually work for me. So if I do package.json, then we'll say our name is lib. There we go. And our main index.js and side effects false. Okay, no side effects. Okay, so then what if we do, so actually I thought that this would work, but it doesn't work. What's interesting though is it does change our output a little bit, but it doesn't change our CSS output. And I inspected this, and it looked like the output change was just in like variable names and stuff, so I'm not sure. But yeah, so that doesn't solve our problem because our CSS all still looks the same. So let me try something else that I hadn't considered. I'm going to move b.js to b.index.js, and then we'll move this here also. And then I'm going to move this to index.js, and we'll move that in there. And then for each of these, I'm going to copy this, and we'll add a package.json. And I don't know if I need to give it a name, but I'm going to anyway. I don't think that I do. And then we'll do package.json. And this will be A. Okay, so I'm pretty sure that I don't have to change any code. So let's webpack this thing. And nope, no change. So unfortunately, I don't know why, but that doesn't work, which is too bad. So there is another solution here. Scripted Alchemy mentions this really, really long thing that I will be totally honest, I did not really grok everything that happened in here. It seemed pretty complicated. So thanks, Zach, but I'm not sure if this is going to work for me. So yeah, that's a bummer. But let me show you really quick Lodash on GitHub, because I think that they it does work for them. Maybe this is just a special case for CSS where the side effects doesn't work, but yeah, here we have side effects is false. And so I'm pretty sure, here, let's just try it out for funsies. Yarn add as a dev, well, just add Lodash. And in app1, I'll say import get from Lodash, and we'll get from A the length. Okay, and then we'll webpack that thing. And it's going to be considerably bigger because get is actually still pretty big. But it is hopefully not all of Webpack or all of Lodash. It's actually kind of hard to tell if that's all of Lodash. I don't think it is. Here, let's see here. We'll do, here we do see the size of app1 somewhere. app1.js. I'm looking for the out. Oh, there we go. Out1, 70.3 kilobytes. Wow, I think that might actually be all of Lodash. So maybe this isn't working like we think it is. If we go to unpackage Lodash, let's see how big the UMD is, and that can give us a good idea. Dist UMD. Lodash UMD. CDN copies. Okay. There it is. Okay. So, let's go network. There we go. So the size, yeah, I'm pretty sure we have all of Lodash. So maybe somebody can figure that out. So Mateo just said, hey, you can just do this. But that is like what I thought the side effects false was supposed to help me avoid. So apparently side effects false doesn't work like I think it does, which is unfortunate. So I am back to solution 1, where I'm going to build a custom Babel plugin that takes this code and converts it to this one so that I solve my problem. Let me just answer some questions and I'll wrap up. I'm actually feeling really great about this live stream setup thing because my computer is not screaming at me, and that computer kind of is screaming a little bit, but I think that the quality of this whole experience is much better. So, except when I move my mouse. So I'm using this app called Synergy. By the way, this is called Bartender, and I've got it open twice. What? Close that one. So it's called Synergy, and it allows me, I've got my dual monitors, and my PC is hooked up to this one, and my Mac is hooked up to this one. And Synergy allows me to move, boom, and now I am on the PC, and like the keyboard works on the PC and everything. It's like magic, except there's a bug, which you might notice in the middle of my screen. My mouse is there, and it's kind of like freaking out because I'm moving my mouse on this screen. So and I think that bug was reported like a year ago, so I don't know if we'll ever see that change. But luckily, I don't use this a whole lot for my live streams anyway, so it's not a big deal. But yeah, let me answer your questions. So first we have Frowell, and the question is folder structure in React or React Native. Okay, folder structure questions. Folder structure. I have used and like Ryan Florence's folder structure. I will paste this. I can even do copy paste, so I'm pasting now. In Windows, so I'm going Mac copy, Windows paste. What? Super cool. So I like this folder structure. It's pretty good. I don't really care too much for folder structure. This one actually is, I've developed a distaste for this one a little bit because it seems a little too much of separation and stuff. So I'd probably do reports.js and users.js. Also, I never give capital letters to any of my file names because Git makes that really annoying. If I wanted to change the capitalization or something, Git screws up really bad. So I never do capital letters. I do snake case, or no, kebab case. And I am moving away from index.js files a little bit. So, but other than that, I kind of like this file structure. So, thank you. You're welcome. Here's an idea. Have A.js and B.js dynamically import their CSS instead of statically, so you get it built, but CSS won't get included unless either of them are loaded. That actually is something I had considered. So what King Daro is suggesting is in here, instead of having it here, it would be like a dynamic, like if needed, then require. But I don't think that would work. And maybe it could also be that King Daro is suggesting import a.css. So then you'd say if needed. And that would work, but then it would, like, anytime I want to use these components, then we're going to have to lazily load that CSS. That's just not going to work super great. So thanks for the suggestion, but that won't work for me. The video that was removed will be back in a different form. I was quite curious. Yes, Sebastian, actually, yesterday I was going to show you this, like how I built the PP React thing that I'm working on. But I had a lot of problems getting it to a good state because PayPal's NPM has been falling over really bad recently, and so hopefully soon it will be all fixed up. But yeah, so like the state was not good. I spent like most of the day trying to get things in a good state, and then I was like, yeah, I'm just gonna cancel this. So I'll remove that video from the playlist. Sorry about that. And maybe eventually I'll show you how that all works. All right, Cypress is a large package and slows down our build a lot. I remember that you had front-end master's course where it was outside of app folder. How was that set up? I'm not sure exactly what you're talking about, but if you go to Git.io testing workshop, I'll paste this in here for you. Then that will show you how I have Cypress set up. I've got server and client. This is actually how PayPal scripts it expects you to set up your applications, where you have your server and client, because most of PayPal apps are a combination of the two, where the server will serve up a index.js file and then the client will take over from there. We don't do a lot of server rendering, we do a lot of server rendering in the past, and now we're doing more client-side stuff. We've got efforts to move us to Gatsby potentially. We're really looking forward to that, which, yeah, it'd be super cool. But for right now, this is the way that's set up. But yeah, so we've got a package.json here in the root. We have a package.json on server, package.json on the client, and Cypress cares about both the client and the server, and so that's why Cypress is here at the root. So I don't know. Hopefully that answers your question. Okay. How have you been finding Yard compared to NPM? So I never trust NPM. For some reason, it just, half the time, it doesn't install modules like I expect it to. Like when I'm making alterations, and I make changes to my node modules directory sometimes, and a bunch of things, and I just never really trust it. So Yarn always makes it work great. Every time I run Yarn, I know that it's going to be great. So I'm switching most of my stuff to Yarn, but at work I'm still using NPM. And probably in my workshops, I'll probably still use NPM because it comes installed. I don't want to have to tell people to install something different. Okay, that is it for me. Let me know what you think about the quality of the live stream. I think it was pretty good. I didn't feel like my computer was like lagging at all, which is pretty cool here. That's we've got our activity monitor. We can see where my activity is being spent. Hopefully I don't show you anything in here that's like not good, but even Synergy, the thing that I'm using to control my mouse back and forth, that's not taking much. Google File Stream though, goodness. And then my memory, we've got the Windows server, that's the hog, and code helper. Yep, you expect to see those. So yeah, I'm feeling pretty great about this. Yeah, I hope that this was interesting, and I will see you all later. Let me just, it looks like more chats. Can you make a video on how to integrate non-React packages into React? Yeah, how to componentize some packages. Yeah, we could do that. I don't think I've done that before, so that's a good suggestion. Could you ask that so I don't forget on my AMA? I just typed that in for you. That would be helpful. Okay, I'm going to jump out. I hope this was interesting and fun, and I will see you all next time. Peace.